Please be joined this time by Coach P.J. Katz as the offense coordinator at Brookwood. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on. This is awesome. Really appreciate all you do for coaches in Georgia and all over the country. Your resources are invaluable for sure.
Thanks a lot, Coach. I appreciate it. I'm going to tell you what, I've always liked Brookwood. I like Coach Jones. I like you guys. I do. I keep up with you. I just told you before when we were recording, I thought you guys did a great job this year offensively. But now your quarterback's going to Alabama, my alma mater. So I really like Brookwood. You know what I'm saying? Like it moved up the list. You know, your quarterback's going to Alabama. Now it's really something. So
awesome. Well,
he's a good one. We're excited to have him.
He is.
But Coach, let's talk some game planning today. Offensive game planning. I mean it when I say, for people that aren't familiar with Coach, Brookwood, Gwinnett County, Georgia, big time football, and they do a great job year in, year out, taking what they got. And I'm excited to hear what you got to say. So let's go, Coach.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you not being one of the ones who's hit me up and said, now you got an Alabama commit, you better score 40 a game. So we'll do our best, right? My good buddy John Ford was like, that's right, you're not going to score 40, you're going to score 50. So that's our mindset. But like you said, when you come into a season, like, yes, we got Dylan, we know what we got there, but every year things are kind of changing. You know, we don't have Division I after Division I player on our roster. So we got to make our stuff fit who we have, right? So that comes into your game planning. When they're better than you, when their defense has better athletes than you have, that does not mean that scheme-wise they should defeat what you're trying to do. So we just try to put our kids in the best positions to have success and then let them go out there and do that. So my information, just want to throw it up here. I didn't put my Twitter handle on there, but I'm on Twitter as well. There's my lovely family and those two crazy youngins that keep us busy. But when it all comes down to game planning, right? Before we've all sat in that room and a coach gets on the whiteboard and it just turns into, Picasso up there. There's lines going everywhere and you don't know what you just decided to run out of what formation versus what front. And I'm not very smart, so I got to be organized and know exactly what our plan is. And I basically build myself a cheat book for the week that I memorize, right? This is what we're going to do. And then after the game's over, I flush it and go on to the next one. So I want to find something that really organizes those thoughts. So what we do is we use a PowerPoint plugin called Pro Quickdraw. Okay, it gets shameless plug because I do work with those guys. It's an awesome system that lives inside PowerPoint, and it helps with organization because that's what game planning is. All your stuff you put out, it's so extremely organized. So the huddle, everybody knows the issues there with their playbook, but it comes to this kind of thing, I want to be super organized, right? I want my players to have the keys to success in the classroom when we teach them, on the field, and then on a Friday night as well. So we start with a play. What do we want to run? When we're looking at game planning, I'll get into exactly how we do it, but kind of quickly what system we use to make that happen, right? So there's a play. It's drawn up 2x2, run stick to both sides. Actually, this is I stole this from Joey King. This is how he installs 2x2 stick, and I absolutely love it. We've had a lot of success with it. So here's a play, and then we take that play and we put it on a layout for the kids for their information on how we're trying to present it. All right. So guys, this week we getting dubs. We're going to run green stick. Here's how we do it. Any questions? Okay. Give them the information so they can learn. And then what we do behind that is we give them, all right, here's the variations this week of stick. Okay. So if you look at each box is a different variation of the same exact scheme. So for the quarterback, you're not really teaching, too many different things. Hey, different backside combo, right? This one's got motion. This one's an empty. When it comes down to the game planning purposes, we look at these and then say, okay, here's our 4 main ways to run it. What's our top 2? And we take those and we put them in the game plan. Some weeks, if we love stick, we'll run it 4 different ways, right? But I'm just OCD. If I'm going to put it in 4 different ways for the week, we better rep it that many times. I'm not repping something once and running with it, right? We got to get reps. So the organizational side of game planning starts here, okay? So if you take a look at it, right, in the off season, you're more focused on building, this up. Your main library, here's all your stuff, okay? Call it a playbook, whatever you want to call it, right? And then each week, here's your opponents, okay? And last year lost in game 13 to Walton. They did a great job against us, and we didn't respond. And inside each folder, it's all the same. You coaches, as you know, it's repetitive, right? Each week you're doing the same thing. So what we do is we break it down by the days of practice where we need to actually create drawings and things to post for the kids, scout cards, you name it. And then the rest of these things is just every week stuff, from blitz cards to the call sheet. This is what we do on Thursdays. We call it a kick script. Our fastball calls are one word, so we separate them out so the kids know where they can find everything. Full scouting report, and then of course stats. I'm not a big stat guy, but the kids like it, and I like to use it for efficiency, right? Really don't care about the yards, but what's our efficiency per play? That's what I'm looking at. So on the planning side of it, and I won't go through this part, because everybody does this. When you break down film and huddle, you can use huddle assist, but a lot of times you got to go back in and do things yourself. So we break it down, right? Here's what you need to do of our games, right? Previous games. And here's what you need to do of opponents, okay? The reason we tag previous games is so when we need to go back to it, let's say we play Grayson and then we come back around in the postseason, we play them again. Well, that game's already broken down. And then next year, it's already broken down because you're always going to look at your previous year if coordinators or head coaches stay the same. So we separate this out. Everybody does this right here. That's kind of how we do it. Again, I'm not hiding anything. There's no secrets to me in football. The secret is the process that you take, right? Sticking to it. So the game planning drawing responsibility, the pictures, the images, what you're giving to the kids to teach them what you want to do that week, we do it with what we call PQD responsibilities. So each position coach and myself, we will take a category. So if you look at Coach Underwood, he's our O-line guy. And does a wonderful job with our offensive line. He does the blitzes and stunts, and during the week, he draws inside cards. Okay. So you can see kind of how we have different folks doing different things. And then sometimes, Coach Finley on Sundays, he shouldn't be doing any drawing at all. That's not his job. The rest of us have those responsibilities. And this is all a part of a process to get to the end goal, which is a scouting report and your game plan, right? So as we go through it, of course, we have a scouting report. Each week we do the same stuff, right? Here's A through M. This is what we want to accomplish. So I make sure that each person knows, and that kind of goes with this slide a little bit. What you're doing here should be produced into this, okay? So again, we break it down. This gets a little more specific on third down defensive breakdowns and reports, red zone reports, and things of that nature. So we want to make sure that you want to turn every stone over, right? But you don't want to get bogged down in the weeds either. And I think by doing this, it's kind of taken us out of the chance of getting bogged down. And I think we do a dang good job of staying on topic. You're always going to have the random, as you know, in an office, you go off on a tangent, right? I want to stay on topic because there's no need for us to be up there. I'm from the school of, and I'm not that old. You shouldn't be in the office from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Sunday. To me, like, what are you doing?
It doesn't help you win. I mean,
right.
It doesn't do that. It's just for you.
Right. It's all about, you need to check these boxes because you think it helps, but it does not, right? I want to be efficient with my time. So doing this makes us, I think, pretty efficient. Okay. Sunday watch list, of course, again, this isn't revolutionary. What do we want to look at? Always starts with formations, alignments, what we call defensive recognition. Okay. From there, we go to our different categories, right? And then, of course, this kind of mimics into a call sheet eventually, which I'll show that at the end. So the first thing you always want to know, I'm not one of those guys. What's his name? Gosh, he did a podcast with you on special teams. He was down at Colquitt, and I was at Thomas County Central. He did a personnel sheet that was like mind blowing. Like he knew who Dylan's girlfriend was, right? And who Stone's girlfriend was. And I'm like, and it was this beautiful thing. We don't do that. We're pretty simple, right? Who are they? What position do they play? Do we have somebody we can attack, right? And we know you're playing Travis Hunter, you better find him on the field, plain and simple, okay? I don't need 6'5", 250, runs a 4.40 and drives a Mack truck. I can see that when I turn on the tape. So we're pretty basic when it comes to personnel pages. Where we get into the specifics of who are they, it's right here. So this is a PowerPoint template using Pro Quickdraw, and we drop in how they line up and then what's their base front and coverage. Okay. And then we do the same thing for blitzes, doing down and distance, red zone, your really important areas. So that's what we do. And just so you know, the naming convention of the file, when we save them, I like to put the play number and who they played. So if I need to go find, hey, let's watch the bunch 3-4, I can go, hey, play 10 versus Milton. That was a perfect look at how they line up, because we know it's high school football. Sometimes our formations look like something we've never coached, and sometimes the defense lines up like crazy. So we like to keep that organized. So the coaches as well, and of course, you can stop me anytime, Coach. I'm kind of buzzing
this
through
is
this.
actually great. I've got a lot of questions about the formatting, but I'll get to that.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem. So when you look at, I don't like Huddle's reports, and I have not messed with Huddle betas or whatever, the new Huddle. So I saw this, actually stole it from Georgia Tech. Now I liked how clean it was, right? I'm all about present the information so I can read it quickly and move on. So we use these, we break them down by formation. So this is our front and stunt report Coach Underwood does, fills it out, right? Yes, he uses the data from Huddle. We type it in here, okay? And then Coach Underwood also does the blitz report. Again, same kind of thing you're looking at, right? Is there a tendency to a formation that they check to a blitz, like their empty check? Is there a tendency by area of the field, right? Now, I understand 100%, we only had one clip. So that's not real data. This, of course, is our first game last year. So we didn't have a ton of data to go off of, but that's what we're looking to do for sure. Is just give us a snapshot so we have answers, right? We get in the tight, if they're 100% blitz, we better, if we're going 5 out, I better coach the quarterback up every single day of his hots and make sure the ball gets out of his hands, right? And then Coach Finley and Coach Sims, tight ends, and now running back coach and quarterback coach, Coach McLean, they come together for the coverage report. Again, same type of process. What's their favorite coverages versus our formations in parts of the field? This sheet lacks data again because we didn't have a lot to go off of. And then here's a third down report. This was versus Walton. We take our top formations, put their front, everything, right? Nothing revolutionary, but I can grab this. And honestly, I'll look at it on Sundays. I'll look at it on Monday and Tuesday. And by that, I better know it, right? Because you don't have time in a game to think, oh, okay, third down, you're in the tight red area. What do they like to do? You can have little reminders on a call sheet, but all that stuff to me gets committed to memory. And then again, red zone report. So we're taking, you drew stuff, you broke down film, and you're putting all this data into presentable information. And this is for the coaches, right? I don't pass this out to the kids. Quarterbacks will look at some of this on Monday morning, but again, I don't want to overwhelm people with information, right? Give them what they need to know and let them go play football, okay? Now, when it comes to building your inventory of plays for the week, right? Here's an example. If we installed a new play, because it's, what's the rule of how much should be new? Of course, I say 10%, right? And we have an ability to track that. But let's say I want to put this new play in for this week, right? Love the way we can attack them out of reduced set. Love the way we can use a shift and a motion. So we draw the play up, we drop it in this layout, we type the rules. And for some people, it's easy, right? O-line, black protection. You guys learned black protection on day one of spring ball, go. There's nothing new, right? And then for some other people, it might be a little bit different. You might have to get into some more details. Of course, for the quarterback, this was a shift and a motion, so he's got to know his responsibilities on this, okay? So I want to make sure if a play is new, we teach them just like you would in spring, right? Everybody makes a playbook layout. This is the same one we use for spring day one install. So we drop it in there for them. And then the final kind of, what are we going to do? We call that a game plan report. So I had how you aligned, I have your blitzes. I basically figure out who you are as a defense. Now, what do I want to run versus you? Okay. So we break our things up. We change this, and I love it as a play caller because it makes just sense to me. We do a lot of RPOs just like everybody else. Okay. And we got Dylan. So yes, we sling the ball around, but we were 50-50 last year, ironically, because you got to run the ball to win games, and he knows that. So when you take a look at it, the quick game verbiage to me, drop back, all those verbiage everybody's used, that just doesn't make much sense, because some quick games you want to catch, cock, and throw. Some games you want to rocket that thing out there right now, right? Sometimes you want to take a rocker step and then throw based on the concept that's called. So we kind of got rid of that, and we made up drops that we teach. And then when it comes to teaching the scheme, we said, all right, Is it a SAM read? Is it a safety read? Is it 4 verticals? Is it a crosser? We started making families of concepts, right? Because snag and stick, SAM read. However, on stick, I want to catch, squeeze, throw. On snag, we're catch, rocker, step, because we got to have a corner, the snag, the bubble, got it all going on. It's a longer process play, right? But if it's quick game, you can't just tell the cue quick game drop. So we started separating those things out, and it really helps with game planning because now you can say, all right, there's Sam's not the best player in the world. So that Sam category, I want a bunch of things in there. Let's attack him, right? Their safety, their field safety is not great, slow hips. We need to attack him. So then that safety read category better go up, right? So that's kind of what we do. It lets us stay in a family when we're game planning. And then, of course, we go through this. And on Monday, I'll sit back down with Coach Finley and say, all right, we got all these runs out of 2x2. We can't practice all that many. And then we get rid of some. And that comes down to what do we do best? Because at the end of the day, you need to call plays that your kids know how to execute well, right? Some years you're a counter power team. Some years you're more a zone team based on your personnel. So we'll get rid and we'll kind of dumb this thing down a little bit, right? So then when it comes to making call sheets, we don't have 15,000 plays to put on there. This is just our blitz report from that Excel document now in visual form. So these cards, that's how we go to practice, right? I can't take an Excel document out there that says NT stunt and the kids know what to do, right? They'll learn it, but I want to bring drawings. So this is all, again, taking that one big play, drop it in a PQD template, it resizes and formats for you. We take this to the field, we rock and roll. So I know you were going to say you're going to ask some questions about kind of how this thing.
I'm the master, the absolute king of giving people free advertising and not making money off of this. So let me say I'm impressed. And maybe the Pro Quickdraw wasn't around or I wasn't familiar with it 3 or 4 years ago when I would have been more interested.
Right.
So I'm impressed. You're going to go through it, so I'll let you, and then I'll ask. But I'm more curious, what's the time? How is this compared to something else? How do you do? Right. Because I think if people are watching this like I'm watching it, I'm impressed with the organization. I like what you guys are doing. I would definitely steal some of the ideas, some of the things that you have up there for what you're looking at for third down, red zone, whatever. But I was more impressed with how you could gather that information. I mean, I know you guys have a big staff compared to some people who are listening.
Right.
But if there's a way to gather that information quicker than drawing it through the Huddle playbook or drawing it on manila folders back in my day, then I'm very interested in that. So go ahead. Yeah.
Right. So
give a pitch for Pro Quickdraws.
yeah. When you text, you said, do game planning. It was like, well, I already got this done because I spoke at Roger Holmes' clinic in the spread room in front of 6 people, and 3 were Brookwood, 3 were Brookwood coaches. Wing T spread room at a Wing T clinic. Love Coach Holmes. He does a wonderful job. But so I made this for that because this is how we game plan, right? PQD is a part of it. Before I was affiliated with Pro Quickdraw, I used it. This was the way. I was meeting with buddies in the field, being like, "Hey, man, you need to use this." And I wasn't working with the guys at all. We can kind of get into how that happened too a little bit. But what you're looking at real fast, like how does it function? Like these are all the plays, right? And then we tell these plays, which you see them right here. They're all drawn like I showed you that stick play, 1 per page, and then we double click and they drop into the template. And I'll have a video of that in here as well. But what I'm showing here is, this is a great handout for coaches to have on the field, right? But if your scout team's running the play, they can't see all that. It's too small. So however you do your scout teams, if you want to put it into a big scout card, right? And this is where when you have a smaller staff or a big staff like we have, it doesn't matter. I can do all this information in a matter of about 30 seconds. So this is a real live video you're watching. So I didn't speed the video clip up. So now those same blitz cards that were in offensive perspective, 9 of them are now in defensive perspective, 1 per page, file, print, put in the notebook, go to practice. So it's all about efficiency, right? I want to be efficient in the game planning. I want to be efficient in my call sheet. And I'll show you that too at the end. I absolutely love how we do it. We click a number and the play name drops in because I don't want to type things 5,000 times, right? Because on First and 10, I might like power. And on 3rd and 1, I might like power. The same exact way. So I want to put that in there. So this right here, coach, is the tempo sheet I was telling you about, are one words. So I like to separate those so the kids can study them because they got motions, shifts. There's a lot going on normally.
Yeah.
So now you're seeing me use the system, pick my tempo layout.
And this is in PowerPoint.
It's all in PowerPoint.
I'm reiterating for anybody that's listening, kind of trying to follow. This is all through PowerPoint. It's embedded. The PQD, I guess, program is embedded into your PowerPoint.
Yes, it's a plugin. Yes, sir.
Right.
So it just takes PPTXs, PowerPoint files, and now we're dropping them in. So yes, we drew them, drop them in, there they are. And then I like to have a box where I type the names in, what calls are going left, what calls are going right, so they can kind of see them by column, right? Because I really like on fastball calls. I don't want to be stuck in one direction. You know, ball gets on the wrong hash and I'm ready to make the call. Well, I want to be able to do it. So right there, that's your seeing drop it in. And then again, all those plays that you are taking a look at as they come in, they're all drawn nice and big. Let the system do the hard work, which is resizing, right? We have a lot of schools that we work with that have smaller staffs, and this allows you to have a large staff, right? It's the same product the NFL uses. It's the exact same thing. And then this part right here, and I'll come kind of back into the back end of PQD here in a second. You know, people ask, what do you do during the week on the field, right? The one thing I like to say about that is don't be rigid when it comes to that portion. You know, if you're struggling at blitz pickup, then you should do blitz pickup on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right. But a perfect world, you know, at the end of last year, we got cooking pretty good. So this is what we did, right? And we hardly ever veered off of it. Some days you might need something, but this is how we kind of saw our week going. Okay. And then on Friday, we do a walkthrough, or sometimes we do a point through, which I stole from Ted Roof, where you basically stand up in a room, call the play, point, and they just point where they're going to go. Just a way to get kind of mental reps. So looking at this, you know, how do you make scout cards? Because that's a huge part of game planning, is helping your defense be able to line up for what you need. In some weeks, as you know, coach, if you're playing a team and runs your defense, just give them the calls that you need. Right. Don't overcomplicate this thing. But right here, you're seeing me create a practice script. And what this is, it's my plays that we're going to run today, dropped them into a template again. And now this is what we would put on huddle for the offensive guys. So, all right, guys, we get into our practice period today, and we're going to look at, you know, March 24th team. Here's our script. And I throw this up on huddle. You hope at lunchtime, not in math class, they're looking at the plays that they're going to run today. And I tell you what, the receivers look, because they want to know how many times their position could get the ball, right? So they're definitely taking a look at it. But then what we do is we file print this and we take it to the field. Because just like a defense takes scout cards, I want my plays, because if we make a mistake, reload it, sure. But if, let's say you don't need to do that, you just need to correct one step or an angle, I got the drawing in my pocket. Here you go. Hey, man, on empty pencil, you're to the boundary side. You got the shake, not the stick. What do I mean by that? Here's your 3 options you can run. Remember, if it's stick, you only have 2 options. Okay. So I like to be able to give them visual reminders, just like a scout team. And, you know, those teams are all using Go Route and all that stuff now for scout cards for their offensive scout team. Take this, put it on the Go Route. So call sheet. What I wanted to tell you on this one, that I'm not near smart enough to build this in Excel, but what we basically did was this number you see right here, it associates itself with all this data. Okay, so when I click in, like on PQD, I click in a play name, the drawing comes and the play name comes. I wanted to click in a play. So we built this, and, you know, we're thieves. I stole this idea and kind of made it my own. So when I click in play 87, this play's coming. So if I'm in my red zone area, or if I'm in third and medium area, I have a column 87, 87, play drops in. So then if you want to go delete, right? It's Wednesday, you review everything. You're like, you know what? That was a bad play. Didn't work all week. Get rid of it. I can just delete that 88 out and it takes it off the call sheet. So I don't have to go through my call sheet and find everything, right? So here is the layout that we use. It's a tri-fold layout, you know, folds up. I can hold it in my hand. I'm on the sideline now, and I love being down there and being in the action. And looking at the kids in their eyes. Calling it in the box is great, but I feel like if you got somebody you can trust to give you the information you need, being on the field's where it's at. So I need to be able to flip this thing quickly, and I don't want to take that big, Denny's menu out there. So we use a trifold, and then when you take a look at it, there's the front and there's the back. You can kind of see if I open left, middle, so I know where things are. Here is dropping in the plays. So you just type the number and the play comes off the inventory. It drops it in the call sheet. We're ready to go. And then what you can't see right here is I normally have numbers. So I know how many plays I have in that segment. Right. So I would have like 1, 2, all the way down. And then on Thursday, I make them all white because those numbers really don't matter to me. Right. This number really doesn't matter come Friday, but it's talking to my inventory. Right. So doing that to me has sped up our process of building. Setting all this up, of course, took time. How do we want to do it? Right. But now we can get together on Thursday, get my O-line coach and be like, hey, what runs just didn't really look great this week? Maybe we have an injury, right? We need to throw counter out because our guard that we had to replace just can't do it. All right, go delete all the numbers associated with those plays, kicks off the call sheet. Can't call it. And then we also, I had to put this in here because of, for game planning is taking it to the Friday night action. So my tight ends coach, Coach Finley in the box, this is his sheet. So it's our top formations we want to run that week versus that team. Not every formation, but pretty much your top 8. So we put them on a layout, and then he'll draw up real quick kind of what they're doing, make some notes. Hey, we get in cluster. You've done it 3 times. They've done this 3 times, right? And then I love this column down here that we have got us. What did they do that led to a negative, right? Was it something we've seen and we're prepared for and we have an answer built in, or was it something brand new? And then also, too, this notes is good because, as you know, you're calling plays in a game. And you're like, man, next time we get in that, do this. And I'm saying that, or O-line coach says it, or quarterback coach says it. Coach Finley can jot it down real quick. And then, hey, in between series, coach, next time you get in 2x2, we said this was our run. So now we're all organizing on the same page, and we're not creating more work. We're just taking the manila folder world, the yellow notebook world, and kind of simplifying it down. And then again, PQD allows us to do that. So I had to shout out the staff I work with. Of course, I'm biased. Everybody has the best staff in America, and so do I. Coach Finley at tight ends, and Coach Sims now going to running backs. Coach Underwood O-line, and Coach McLean, our quarterback coach. Coach McLean and Coach Sims were on the 2010 Brookwood team that won it all. So Coach Sims was the receiver, went to Michigan State. Coach McLean was a quarterback who went to Georgia State. Awesome guys. But of course, I mean for this to be a shameless plug for PQD, but
I was impressed. And because I'm out of the, I do a ton of this. I do a ton of this talking to coaches. I'm probably as connected in that as I've ever been.
Right.
I don't do a ton of stuff with vendor or drawing play. Like I haven't drawn a play in a long time.
Right.
So there's certain stuff that comes up and I'm not connected to it. Ironically, rules or something, like when rules change, when you're not really coaching for a couple of years, you would think, well, surely I'll know that the rules change. Well, no, why would I? I mean, I haven't been connected to that. Some of the new technology stuff, so I'm interested. That's interesting to me. I like what you're doing, Coach. I'd like what you're doing if you're using manila folder.
Awesome.
I think the organization is good and I like it. But I think it's if because why not? If somebody's interested in learning more about the system, the Pro Quickdraw, what do they need to do? Reach out to you?
Yeah, just reach out to me. I'll put my number back up here in a second. You can hit me up on Twitter at Coach Katz BHS. But again, you're seeing, to show real quick, kind of live action. How did it happen? Pick the layout, drop the play, it drops in. I'm actually pulling this off my Google Drive right now because a lot of coaches want to share. Right? Me and you, Coach, we want to work together. You do formations, I'll do motions.
Yeah.
Well, I want to be able to share that information so we can live on a Google Drive. So let me throw this back up there, Coach. Where's the lovely family? There they are. So yeah, just shoot me a text. As my wife says, I'm probably too good with my phone. hit me up on Twitter. Again, I have no secrets. I've been very blessed to be surrounded by some awesome men, learn from some wonderful human beings. Number one, like Trip Allen has taught me a ton.
Yep.
Me and Trip from organization are completely different people.
Yeah.
But who we are as offensive coordinators, we're very, very similar. How we get to the end goal is just different. So there's 1,000 ways to kind of, do this and skin the cat, as they say. And if anybody's got any questions, again, I'm here to kind of lend what we do, but what we do isn't the only way, for sure.
No, that's great, man. You learned from some good ones. You've been around some good ones, that's for sure. Trip included.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna get Trip on here for long. We keep playing phone tag, but we're gonna get him on here before long.
Coach, I don't know if he knows how to work a computer enough to get on Zoom, but if so, you'll learn a lot. I'd tell you
we'll
that.
send him a link. He can use his phone if he has to.
Yep.
I don't know that we'll have a presentation, but we'll definitely have a conversation. How about that?
Absolutely. Hey, and those conversations I miss those like crazy. But
yeah, that's good, Coach. You guys do a great job. So obviously why staying organized is part of it. I think, I'll ask you this question. I'll let you go.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be my question back if I was trying to have a rebuttal. So this is great. All this is great. What's a key to sticking to it, doing it, whatever? Because what I see from some people is a tendency to do a lot of work, hardworking, good men, really want to win. But then they get in the game and you kind of say, man, this thick playbook, this long thing we did, we didn't even do that, or it didn't even pay off, or it didn't whatever. What do you say to someone trying to stick to what they worked on all week?
Right. Stick to, it's so corny, Coach. It's just a process, right? We lost 3 games last year and did the same thing when we won 10 games, right? So once you develop what you want to do, what you think is best, like I read a book, Angela Duckworth, Grit, right? I hated that.
No stupid questions.
Right.
No, but another shameless plug that I didn't get paid for.
Exactly. But to be honest with you, like I struggled through that book, right? I'm not a big self-help book kind of guy. I realized that. And I struggled forward and I kept going because the book was titled Grit. So it was like, how can I stop with this right now? I got to finish it. So that's what I would say is once you find your process, don't be afraid to adjust, but you got to stick to it every single day. Right. And yes. And I saw an interview today with Ron Washington, third base coach of the Braves. It's like, if you get bored doing something, then you're not meant to do it because what we do is repetitive. And what we do at PQD is we try to take that repetitive work and speed it up. So now you can build your scout cards in 10 minutes and then spend 50 minutes watching film with a kid one-on-one on Wednesday instead of an hour doing scout cards and no time for film.
Right.
Because watching film, talking ball, teaching, that's what we're meant to do. That's the fun part. The rest of this stuff we have to do because it keeps us organized. It keeps us on track. It makes sure everybody's doing the same thing, just like a textbook when you go to math class. So, that's what I would kind of say is, if you want to use PQD, whatever you do, stick to that process. Don't be afraid to adapt and understand that all of us are getting bored with our process.
Yeah.
But
that's actually really good. That's a fantastic answer. Because that is the dichotomy, I guess, of everybody knows they need to work hard and outwork the other people. And everybody also knows that it ain't just about that. There is a balance there, and it's hard to do both of those at the same time.
No, the outworking and working long hours, to me, it's just like, what are you doing? Right. Like, I don't care what my opponent's doing on a Sunday. If I'm done at 2:00, I'm going home.
Yeah. I never understood that part.
If I got my work done and I feel comfortable with our game plan, I'm going home, right? I'm going to come home to my family and my kids, and I'm going to spend half a Sunday with them. And now if I'm not comfortable and it takes a little bit longer, it takes a little bit longer. But we're just committed to that, Nick Saban, it's what we do. It's our process. And of course it adjusts every year. And when we have a different quarterback at the helm, it'll probably have to adjust because we can't have a menu as large as we have. And that's okay. Do with what you got and make it fit to your personality for sure.
Absolutely. Well, when Coach Saban come by the school, you let him know, I'm still waiting on him to show up on the podcast.
I will.
I'm sure he'll be on any minute.
I'm sure.
Keep watching. But appreciate you, Coach. I do. I know you're busy. Looking forward to following you guys this year. And if I can ever help you anyway, really let me know.
I will, Coach. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything.
Take care.
Yep.